If you've followed Meri Brown's online world for any amount of time, then you know about her and Jen's iconic Friday Night Lives, the laughs, the inside jokes, the ridiculous filters, and of course, their playful alter egos known as the Salty Birches. These two weren't just besties, they were comedy gold. Jen's dry sarcasm perfectly balanced Meri's sass, and together, they built a loyal fan base that tuned in every single week for a dose of real talk, giggles, and that rare glimpse of who Meri is without the sister wives' chaos. But then, something changed. Almost overnight, Jen disappeared from their weekly chats. At first, it was subtle. One missed Friday, then another, and then a vague explanation, dealing with some personal family stuff. No drama, no detail, just distance. Fans were quick to notice the shift. The dynamic was off. Without Jen, Meri's energy seemed different, muted, even the vibrant banter was replaced with an unspoken heaviness, and Jen, usually so present, went nearly silent on social media. Of course, speculation started swirling. Was there a falling out? Was Jen okay? Was something wrong in the family? But Meri stayed quiet, loyal to her core and never once addressed Jen's absence publicly. And that's what made it all the more mysterious. Because this wasn't a social media stunt. This wasn't Sister Wives-style drama. This was something real. The sudden change, the silence, the carefully chosen words. Like Family Matters, they all pointed to one thing. Something serious was going on behind the scenes. And now, with Jen's heartbreaking reveal about her husband's cancer diagnosis, fans are finally connecting the dots and realizing just how much pain and uncertainty has been hidden behind those Friday night smiles. Before the world knew Jen as Meri's sidekick on Instagram Lives. Their story began in the most unexpected way with a bug problem. Back in the Las Vegas era of Sister Wives, Meri had an exterminator come over to handle a pest issue. That exterminator, Jen, what started as a routine appointment, turned into a life-altering connection. Who would have guessed that a woman hired to get rid of bugs would become Meri Brown's most trusted confidant? But that's exactly what happened. Over time, their bond grew far beyond casual friendship. It wasn't about business. It wasn't for the cameras. It was real. Through the chaos of polygamy, heartbreak, and endless judgment from the public eye, Jen stood by Meri not for clout, not for fame, but out of true loyalty. And that loyalty was tested in a big way when Meri's mother, Bonnie, passed away. Bonnie had been running Lizzie's Heritage, and Meri's family-owned bed and breakfast in Parowan, Utah. After her death, Meri was grieving, overwhelmed, and unsure of what to do next. Without hesitation, Jen packed up her life, her husband, her kids, her home, and moved to Parowan to help Meri run the inn. Let that sink in. Jen uprooted everything to support her best friend. No cameras, no contracts, no obligation, just devotion. She became the inn's manager, helped keep the business afloat, and provided Meri with emotional support during one of the hardest chapters of her life. That kind of sacrifice isn't just rare, it's unheard of, especially in the world of sister wives, where loyalty can feel like a luxury. While others in Meri's life distanced themselves, Jen leaned in. While the family crumbled, Jen became family. In a show filled with broken bonds and fractured trust, Jen and Meri's friendship has been one of the most authentic and unshakable connections we've ever witnessed, and now, as Jen faces her own storm, it's Meri's turn to return that love. Then, out of the blue came the post, a moment that stopped fans in their tracks and made everything suddenly painfully clear. On what looked like a sweet tribute to her 19th wedding anniversary, Jen shared a photo of herself and her husband, Shawn, standing together, smiling gently. But the caption, it was nothing short of heartbreaking. What began as a celebration of nearly 2 decades of love quickly turned into a raw, emotional reveal. Shawn has been battling sarcoma, a rare and aggressive form of cancer, since early this year. According to Jen, since February, Shawn has already endured 5 weeks of radiation, 2 major surgeries, and the removal of a 3rd tumor that had quietly grown just outside the original radiation area. Think about that for a second. While fans were wondering why Jen wasn't on social media, she was navigating a medical nightmare behind the scenes. She explained that they kept the diagnosis private, so their children could finish the school year without extra worry, a decision that speaks volumes about Jen and Shawn's love as parents. Quiet strength, quiet sacrifice. And now, finally, they were ready to share it. Jen's words weren't dramatic, they weren't attention-seeking, they were sincere, calm, and terrifyingly real. She spoke of Shawn's long, painful recovery, of his slow return to work, of their deep gratitude to everyone who supported them without even knowing the reason why. But beneath her composed tone, fans could feel it: the fear, the uncertainty, the emotional exhaustion. Her strength was palpable, but so was the quiet desperation of someone who's holding it together because she has to. She ended her message by reminding everyone that July is Sarcoma Awareness Month, and expressed cautious hope that the worst is behind us. That line alone sent a wave of emotion through the Sister Wives community. Because when someone says, "We pray the worst is behind us," you know they've already been through something devastating. Meri responded in the comments with just 4 words: "Love you tons, guys." Short, simple, but packed with meaning. A quiet confirmation that she's been walking this journey with Jen in silence the whole time, and just like that, the mystery of Jen's absence was no longer a mystery. It was a heartbreaking private battle that they've now bravely brought into the light. For many fans reading Jen's post, the word sarcoma might have been unfamiliar. It's not one of those cancers you hear about on TV or see in the pink ribbon campaigns. But make no mistake, sarcoma is real, rare, and ruthless. Sarcoma is a type of cancer that starts in the body's connective tissues, things like muscle, fat, nerves, and even bones. It's not just one kind of cancer, either. There are dozens of types, and they can grow silently, deep inside the body, until they're big enough to cause real damage. That's what makes it so terrifying. You don't always feel it until it's already taken hold. For Jen's husband Shawn, that meant a tumor that grew quietly outside the radiation zone. Despite already enduring weeks of treatment and surgery, cancer still found a way to sneak past undetected. Sarcoma doesn't play fair. It doesn't give you time to prepare. It just shows up, and when it does, it throws your entire life off course. And I say that not just as a storyteller, but as someone who's been there. My husband, too, went through cancer. Different diagnosis, different treatment, but the same fear. The same long nights spent Googling things you're not ready to understand, the same emotional whiplash between hope and panic, the same terrifying realization that no matter how strong your partner is, you can't fix it for them. That's what makes cancer such a cruel enemy. It doesn't just attack the body, it invades your peace, your sanity, your home. You try to be strong. You tell yourself everything will be okay. But that tiny voice in your head whispers, ... what if it's not? And even when treatments are successful, when tumors are removed, or radiation is finished, the fear never leaves. Because the truth is, cancer doesn't end when the surgery does. There are scans, blood work, the waiting. The comeback in 3 months, and we'll see. And all the while, you try to smile for your kids. Keep working, stay social. Pretend life is normal, but inside, you're bracing for the next wave. That's the invisible war Jen and Shawn have been fighting. And now that the world finally knows, it's time we fight with them, not just for awareness, but for empathy. Because anyone could be carrying a story like this behind their smile. Now that the curtain's been pulled back, it's impossible not to think about everything Jen and Shawn are likely facing, not just behind closed doors, but inside their hearts and minds. Because cancer doesn't just drain the body, it drains everything. There's the emotional toll, watching someone you love go through pain you can't stop. Waking up each day not knowing what news the next scan might bring. There's the mental exhaustion, the constant alertness, the quiet moments filled with what-ifs that no one dares say out loud. Then there's the physical toll, surgeries, recovery, fatigue. The way cancer treatment can strip someone of their energy, their independence, even their identity. Watching your strong, capable spouse struggle just to get out of bed or walk across the room. It's soul-crushing. And yes, the financial toll. Let's be honest, treatments like radiation, surgeries, follow-ups, even time off work, it all adds up. Jen hinted in her post that Shawn is only just beginning to get back to his shop. That's not just about routine, it's about survival, about finding any sense of normal again, even when nothing feels normal anymore. And through all this chaos, Jen stayed quiet, not out of secrecy, but out of protection for her children, for her husband, for the sacredness of what they were going through. That kind of grace, that kind of strength, that's rare. So when she finally opened up, it wasn't for attention. It was out of necessity, out of honesty, and out of incredible courage. And quietly, but powerfully, Meri has been there. She didn't post cryptic quotes or make a scene. She just stayed present. A short "love you tons" might seem small, but to those who really follow Meri, it said everything. She's been walking this with Jen from the beginning, shoulder to shoulder. No spotlight needed. That's the kind of loyalty we don't often see on sister wives, real friendship that isn't performative, but lived, the kind that shows up when no one's watching, that holds space when words fail, and that sticks around not because of shared blood but because of shared love. This moment, it's bigger than reality TV. It's about what happens when the cameras stop rolling and life gets real. Jen and Meri are showing us that this is what true sisterhood looks like. A call for compassion. It's easy to get caught up in the drama of sister wives, the breakups, the shade, the tension. But every now and then, we're reminded that behind the cameras, behind the headlines, real people are living through real pain. Jen and Shawn's story isn't just a side note in Meri Brown's life. It's a powerful reminder that the people we follow, laugh with, and sometimes critique, are also carrying quiet battles we may never fully understand. This isn't about polygamy or business. This is about love, loyalty, and the brutal unpredictability of life. It's about a wife holding her family together while her husband fights a devastating illness. It's about a friend standing strong in the background, offering unwavering support, not for attention, but because that's who she is. So if you've ever tuned into a Friday Night Live and smiled at Jen's sarcasm, or felt inspired by Meri's strength, now is the time to give back. Drop a kind message for Jen and Shawn in the comments below. Let them feel the love and support of this community. And if you've faced something similar, share your story, because someone else might really need to hear it. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this space where we can talk about the real stuff, not just the showbiz. I'm Sarah, and this is TLC Sister Wives Recap. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the real stories behind reality TV.